Hey guys, coming at you today with a delicious holiday dessert, a super soft and fluffy keto pumpkin cake with a cinnamon whipped cream cheese frosting. So let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. My name's Alycia and I've been a chef most of my life. I'm a pastry chef and now a mom to a toddler. And I'm here to bring you a bunch of tips and tricks on healthy, keto, low carb meals, desserts, snacks. So if you enjoy this type of content, please hit the subscribe button down there. A lot of people have been unsubscribed lately, so definitely check to make sure you are still subscribed. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave me comments and share with all your friends and family. It all helps my channel grow and to bring you new recipes every Saturday. So I made this recipe on a whim this week because I wanted something to put out for Thanksgiving, and I have a ton of pumpkin recipes, but I do not have just a simple pumpkin cake. And this is pretty simple compared to, like, say, my pumpkin Swiss roll recipe or my pumpkin roll recipe, which is a little bit more involved because it's like a sponge cake where you have to divide the egg yolks and egg whites and all that stuff. So this is a very simple recipe compared to some other ones I have. So I have done this recipe with butter and avocado oil, and they both work. The avocado oil, you're just gonna have a runnier batter, but it's still gonna work just as good. So you're gonna need 5 ounces of butter. I always weigh all my ingredients just because it's easier that way. If you don't, it'd be a half cup plus 2 tablespoons. But if your butter isn't super soft, it's kind of hard to measure. Or 1 stick and a quarter, but I never go by the measurements on the package of butter because they never line up correctly, and yeah, you can't really trust those. I always use salted butter, but you can easily use unsalted and put a teaspoon of salt in the entire batter. Now there was only a couple swaps I did here. Obviously we need pumpkin instead of just vanilla. And I did a golden monk fruit erythritol blend instead of the classic granular, which I'm out. Need to refill my bucket. And I upped the sweetener a little bit. There ain't nothing left in there. I used this Duralife monk fruit erythritol blend. It is the cheapest I found, but I still prefer the texture of Locanto. So $1.96 is 1 cup. I upped it a little bit from my vanilla recipe just because we have pumpkin in here. And I also swapped out the vanilla whey protein isolate for unflavored, which has no sweetener added to it. Unflavored whey protein isolate has nothing but the whey protein. But then you get, oops, sorry, I hit the camera. But then you get into all the flavored ones and they have sweeteners and gums in them and stuff like that. So you can use a vanilla whey protein in this, or if you have like a cinnamon one, that would be really good in this. But they usually have xanthan gum or sweeteners. So you might have to adjust according to whatever you use. And I have used Perfect Keto for baking before and Keto Chow. Keto Chow has tons of gum in it. So really, you don't want to put any xanthan gum probably at all in your mix. It might still be a really thick batter. I would probably suggest using the avocado oil instead of the butter because your batter will be so thick if you use Keto Chow. But it should work. Now while that's whipping, you can get everything else ready to go. You want that nice and light and fluffy because you want that granular sweetener a little bit dissolved in there and the butter nice and fluffy. But I'm not going to talk while that's going, so we need to get our pumpkin weighed out. I have some here because, like I said, I made it earlier this week and it just didn't fit in this container, so I had to rip it up. I'm like, I'm not dirtying more dishes. At this point, you can preheat your oven to 350. My oven's been on for a while because I've been baking all day. So it's not going to take long. We need 10 ounces, so 1.25 cups of pumpkin puree. I said your butter and sweetener can be whipping this whole time. I already have my eggs out. Like I said, I've been baking all day, but you should use room temperature eggs. It always makes a more consistent batter if you use room temperature eggs and soft butter. Even the pumpkin I probably should have pulled out earlier and I forgot. I also have 1 block of cream cheese out because we are making a cream cheese whipped cream frosting for the top of this. And the last set of ingredients are our dry ingredients. 120 grams unflavored whey protein, which is about 1.5 cups, not packed. This is making a whole 9x13 cake. I never sift my whey protein because it's so light and airy that there's never any clumps in it. And 75 grams of coconut flour, which is 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm doing the same trick as with my vanilla cake and my chocolate cake recipe. I learned it when I did the red velvet cake recipe. Doing the vinegar and baking soda at the end and mixing it in gives us a nice rise on our cakes. Better than just adding it straight to the mix. Now my xanthan gum is about 2 times as strong. I'm using Anthony's. So in my original vanilla cake recipe, I used a teaspoon. I am now down to using 1/2 teaspoon. And even still, my cake yesterday was pretty thick. So you can probably even go less on it if you wanted, if you have the same xanthan gum as me. And that's it for the dry ingredients. We just got to get our 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda in a cup to add the vinegar and add at the end. Make sure you whisk your dry ingredients. Then I'm going to start whipping my butter and sweetener together. And then you can add vanilla extract, or since it's pumpkin, you can add maple, you can add caramel, you can add any extract you want really that will complement the pumpkin flavor. And I forget, we're making pumpkin. We need pumpkin spice and cinnamon, or you can just do cinnamon, whatever you like. So 1 tablespoon of pumpkin spice. I'll have this mix down below. I make my own because I'm not a huge fan of nutmeg. So I have a little bit less nutmeg than ginger and cinnamon than most commercial pumpkin spices have. And cinnamon, 1 teaspoon. Cinnamon does have carbs in it, just so you know. Probably ginger and everything does too. But when I put it in my recipe, it does add carbs because we're adding a teaspoon here, a teaspoon into our frosting, and then there's cinnamon in the pumpkin pie mix. Just so you know, it does add carbs. And mine spits out like an actual nutrition label. So I see how it works when companies make their nutrition labels. Like they make them like smaller portions so that they're lower carb, and you know, mess with the sugar alcohols and the fibers and stuff to make it lower carb. So I see that with my recipe app. So I can put in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, cut it into 12 and see how many carbs it is, and then cut it into 15, see how many carbs it is, take some stuff away, add some stuff, you know, to get my numbers kind of where I want them. But unlike them, I don't add like extra fibers and stuff to my recipes like most companies do. This, for 1/15 of it, is 3 grams of net carbs. The fiber and stuff is just all accidental. Like coconut flour has a little bit of fiber in it. Pumpkin has fiber. So I'm going to whip this up, add my extract, then my eggs, pumpkin, and dry ingredients, and our cake batter is made. Stop and scrape down a couple times. Like if this is going while you're getting all the rest of your ingredients, this recipe is going to take you 10 minutes to put together. We also got to get our pan ready. Okay, now we alternate wet and dry ingredients. This is going to be a thick batter either way, just because we're doing pumpkin puree instead of the low carb buttermilk for this recipe. Okay, batter's just about done. Give it a nice mix with your hand, at least there's no streaks of pumpkin in there. Nice thing about our baked goods, can't really overbeat them. There's no actual gluten to like make a tough cake. 2 teaspoons of vinegar to your 1.5 teaspoons of soda. I don't usually even measure this. I just do 2 splashes. Mix it up and mix it in. You do want to mix this pretty well because I have on occasion not mixed it very well and I get random like blowouts, usually with cupcakes because you know you're doing the smaller batter amounts in there. If this doesn't look like your thing while I'm getting this in there, I'll do a little screen capture of how to get to my playlist. I curated a bunch of playlists for you guys because I know it's hard to find like exactly what you're looking for, but I think a lot of people don't know where that is. So I'll show you here. You go to my channel and it'll have a bunch of things at the top and there's playlists. And I have an entire holiday faves playlist. It has like 33 videos, but more recipes because I got a bunch of cookie recipes that are like more than one in a video. So if pumpkin cake is not what you want to make for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I have an entire playlist of desserts. I'll have another one coming next week also because I realized I didn't have anything shot. I feel like I haven't shot down here in months, which I don't think I have because I've been so busy doing shipping for you guys. I have now added 26 states, if you didn't know, and I'm shipping my low-carb white bread rolls, hoagie rolls, my cinnamon crumble coffee cake, and an assorted breakfast pastry box. Everything freezes well, so I just want to mention if you do want stuff for like the holidays and things, definitely make sure you order ahead of time because if I get really busy for the holiday season, I'm not going to be able to make everything because it's just me down here. So I literally have to make, package, and ship everything myself. So everything freezes. So if you want something like a breakfast platter or something for Christmas to put out, make sure you get your orders in early. Next year I'll have some extra help. Because this batter is so thick, you got to make sure you're even because if you're really high on one side, this batter ain't moving. So you got to make sure you're definitely even all the way around. That's probably the hardest part about this recipe, making sure you're even because it's so thick. You do still want to keep the xanthan gum in there though, because that gives you the more gluteny texture. Last time the batter burned up top, so I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges a little bit. And since your oven is ready to go, because you preheated it, I overbaked it last time. So I'm going to definitely keep an eye on it. Less than 30 minutes, at least in my oven. All ovens vary widely. I learned that when I had my own brick and mortar bakery. And she had completely different ovens than I was used to baking in. You can see some of those videos where I'm using different ovens. And I found out that using electric is completely different. And then we had electric fan-driven ovens. And this is a convection gas. Most times I don't use the fan, but just so you know, it's a gas oven. So I'm gonna start with 15. Actually, I'm only gonna start with 13. Turn it 13 and see where we're at. So I'll be back when I gotta turn this and then when it comes out of the oven. Okay, hopefully my sound's working. I don't know if the sound worked in that last clip or not, but it has been in 24 minutes and I think it's just about done. So I'll pull it out here in a second. I'll leave it in 1 more minute just to be safe. Okay, that was 25 minutes. It's not like mushy and it's springing back when you touch it. So this has to cool for a while before we can frost it. I'm gonna set it aside and I'll be back when we can make the frosting to top this. Okay, our cake has been cooling for quite some time. You want to completely cool down. Even chilled works well also. I have just it sitting on my cooling rack back here. Shot a whole nother video. So I tried this the other day in 2 of these bowls, and whipping whipped cream in these bowls is just torture. It sprays everywhere. So I'm gonna do it in the stand mixer, but if you have a bowl with higher sides, you can whip the whipped cream with the beaters also. I'm going to measure out 8 ounces of heavy cream into here and get it on the mixer. Now this frosting, you can literally use any frosting you like. You do want to make sure you have some kind of stabilized whipped cream. So I'll link up there my stabilized whipped cream video. There's 3 options. Now you can have that whipping while you're doing this, but since I'm talking to you, I am going to do this first and then get everything whipping. The sweetness level on this is up to you. I did 60 grams of powdered monk fruit erythritol blend. Powdered allulose might work in this, but the one time I used powdered allulose monk fruit, I put it in a buttercream frosting and it made my cake wet after putting it in the fridge. So just keep that in mind. That could happen. Allulose is hygroscopic, I think is the word. So I tried this cake and for me, the sweetness level was a little light, but it was perfectly fine for my husband who doesn't even do keto. He's just not a big sweet person, and for my father-in-law. Taste and adjust for your sweetness level. You can put any extract or spices you want in this. I'm just doing a teaspoon of cinnamon. That's what I put in the macros. My cream cheese has been out this whole time, so it is very soft. I'm gonna start just mixing it by hand so that the powdered sweetener doesn't go everywhere. And then I'm gonna use my hand mixer. You can also do, like I mentioned the pumpkin roll earlier. I did a similar thing to this and I put pumpkin puree in it. So if you want a pumpkin cream cheese, you can do that. I'm gonna whip this up and I'm gonna start my mixer. I'm gonna just add a teaspoon of vanilla extract into our whipped cream. If your cream cheese isn't soft enough, you can put it in a plastic or silicone bowl in the microwave, 50% power for like 20-30 seconds. Okay, you want the whipped cream at stiff peaks, which that is. You can also, if you don't want to use monk fruit erythritol, you can just use stevia also. So we're gonna lighten this up a little bit with some whipped cream. Basically, you want your whipped cream to like not fall out on you. That's how you know it's done. Don't over whip because you can make butter. And just so you know, cream cheese and whipped cream both have carbs in them. Cream cheese is 1 carb per ounce. A cup of whipped cream is about 6 to 7 carbs, no matter what the back of your package says. That's all done. At this point, taste it for sweetness. If you want to add a little bit more, you can. Let's get out our cake. I'm gonna make sure it is unstuck from the side, that we didn't parchment. And then just spread it out. You can also pipe it on if you want. Okay, that's all set. You can serve it right away or you can chill it, but it does taste best at room temperature for sure. And you can also freeze this and just defrost it in the fridge overnight and it's good to go. I'm gonna do a little design in it. We're doing this 3 by 5. So I'm gonna try and do 3 going this way. It definitely will be easier to slice when it's like more solid. So I'm gonna slice it once it's chilled down a little bit, and then we get to taste one. Okay, our cake has been chilling for a while, so let's get it out of the pan. Should be already unstuck, hopefully. Probably should have checked before I frosted it. Oh, we're good. Let's cut into it. 15 pieces. I did the swirl a little bit short on that side. I still did that one too big. Do that all the time. So bad at it. Hardest part about doing 15 is trying to get the middle. My battery's about to die. 12.5. Okay, so 12.5 divided by 5. 2.5 inches per slice. Put it right there. Delicious, soft pumpkin cake. It is a little cold now, but it is super soft and moist. The pumpkin puree really makes it like super moist. Get to try it now. Probably should use a fork like a civilized person. Goes in so easy. Super soft and fluffy pumpkin cake. So good. I want to show you the squishiness, but with the cream cheese on it, it's hard to show you. It's like super soft and moist. Delicious. It's a perfect, easy addition to your Thanksgiving meal. It is so good. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe for your Thanksgiving or your Christmas holiday season. It is super delicious and not super complicated to put together. Lots of different options you can do with the frosting and different spices you can add to it, whatever you'd like. I got caramel sauce that would be delicious on this. I'll link the caramel sauce up there for you. Let me know in the comments below if you try it and how you like it and how everybody else at your gathering enjoys it. And what else do you miss for your holiday season baking? I have a lot of recipes, but I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. Don't forget to check out my Amazon links and the blog link to the full recipe in the description box below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I'll be back with more healthy, keto, low-carb dessert and dinner recipes. Bye guys. Happy keto low-carb baking.